Okay. Okay, and let me, how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a great Friday. Okay. Hey everyone. Hey guys, how you doing? Okay. Well, what's wrong, Mr. Waifu? And I'm doing good, Isaiah. How are you, man? And my character really needs a cigar. His dead eye is terrible right now. Okay. I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you found my money guide helpful. Did any of you other guys here? Did you guys also find my money guide helpful? Hey Locke, how are you, man? Hey Pro in chat. Hey man. Okay, let's go over and get this guy here then. I'm glad it helped you out. You passed your permit test. Congratulations, Mike. You're applying for a job at Goodwill. Any advice? Goodwill, that is a store, right? Let me just look it up. I'm pretty sure it's a store, right? Is that a clothing store? Oh, it's a store, but it's a non-profit also. Okay, so I guess it's a little different than retail. Well, thank you, Drift. I'm glad my guide helped you out. I love Star Wars: The Old Republic. I wish they would make a remake or remaster on Xbox PC. You know, I really wish they would. I think they are making a remake of the Knights of the Old Republic, but the Old Republic, the MMORPG. I really hope that one day they consider bringing it to consoles like PS5. Because I would like to see that. Yeah, I'll play Payday 3, definitely. Hey Pro, if you met this strange man from Red Dead 1 in real life, what would you do and what would you say to him? Thank you, Lopez, for the super chat. Well, I'd ask him who he is, but he would probably just talk in riddles. I've always been curious about who he is. I know he's not a hallucination. Thank you, Feline King. Did you know that there is a ghost train that appears close by roads at 3:30 a.m. on Story Mode? I randomly came across that last night. No, I actually didn't know about that. And it doesn't appear in online? What's with this guy? Oh, okay. But no, I never heard about that Feline King. Thank you, Nicholas. I'm glad that you found my money guide helpful. take him to the Strawberry Sheriff's office. I heard that you can survive an orbital cannon with the stone hatchet ability in GTA 5 Online. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. Edgar Ross was a scumbag. He was never honorable to John. He was using him the entire time. The Strange Man was ultimately the one who sealed John Marston's fate in Red Dead Redemption 1. Do his missions first if they come up in that main story to know more. Yeah, well, I mean, he knew everything that was going to happen. I don't know if he really sealed his fate, but he knew everything that was going to happen. I heard about that game, Alan Wake. Isn't that like a horror game? Okay. No, you're not, Mr. Waifu. Okay. I don't want to see any futuristic stuff in GTA 6. None. Nothing like that. What would have happened if America annexed Japan at the end of World War II? I mean... yeah, America was never gonna do that, because it's a very different culture, language. You know, the annexation wouldn't have done it really anything for America. America wasn't interested in annexing Japan. It was just interested in ending the war at that point. I think though, U20, if you want to know a better what if question, I would say, I would say, what would have happened if America put the Emperor on trial? Like, what if America put Emperor Hirohito on trial and hanged him? What would have happened? If that had happened, oh, I'm sorry, what I ran over. Wait until I guess 5 minutes. If that had happened, I think that Japan would have had riots. Like riots and possible civil war for years, because Japan saw the Emperor as like a god. And what would have happened is parts of Japan actually might have fallen to communism. That also might have happened. So there was like a communist movement in Japan at the time. So that might have happened too. Okay. Kevin Leonardo video? What? I don't know what you're talking about. This is the first I'm hearing about this. No, in the final mission with the Strange Man near the end of the game, John shoots him 3 times, but jams on the 4th. Explain that, Patrick. Well, it's, in the final mission, the Strange Man, John shoots him 3 times, but jams on the 4th. I think that's meant to represent him and his wife. And I think that the one bullet that jammed was meant to represent Jack, that he was going to be the only survivor. I think that's what it meant. But yeah, I don't think that the Strange Man had gotten John killed. Like, Edgar Ross is going to kill John regardless of whether he meets the Strange Man or not. Oh, okay, Locke. We can help you for Trader Sale. Thanks for making so much awesome content. I'm glad to decide to support your channel. When will you do Hitman Freelancer again? This month, I'll do it. I'll do it this month. I'll do a big Hitman Freelancer video and big Hitman Freelancer campaign in one video. What's the you heard crazy myth about World War I or lie? Thank you, Ryan, for the super chat. Well, I'll tell you something. One of the craziest things about World War I that a lot of people actually don't know about is that pilots during World War I, for the vast majority of the war, actually did not have parachutes. A lot of people don't know about that. Now, here's the thing. Parachutes were not developed until, well, parachutes were developed actually years before World War I. But the reason that pilots didn't have parachutes is because the aristocratic generals at the time in World War I actually thought that it was cowardly to give pilots parachutes because they thought that they would just jump out of the plane when they were gonna dogfight. And so that's why they didn't give them parachutes. It was a very stupid thing because it got so many pilots killed. Hey Pro, what is the more beautiful than the fireworks of 4th of July? It's Catalina's chopper explosion. Huh. Well, I know that's a reference to radio, right, at the end? Because the guy says it's like the 4th of July when he's saying on the radio. Thank you, Jonathan. What's your theory on how the dinosaurs died out? That's a weird one. I mean, the meteor hit the Earth, collided out the sun, the dinosaurs didn't have any sunlight, and they just died from all the dust. Well, that was I can't believe that they were using a Logitech controller for that submarine. And I think they also, correct me if I'm wrong, were college kids the ones who designed that submarine? Did you hear about them finding cocaine in the White House? Yes, I did. I did hear about that. And what I will say about this is this honestly sounds like an Onion article, but this is real. Like this is just so ridiculous. Locke, let's sell your trader right now. It is really ridiculous. Happy Friday, Pro and everyone. Heading to work tomorrow morning. Also, aren't games supposed to be $70 because of the worth now of the PS5 and the Series X? Yeah. I mean, what is the default price of games right now? I haven't bought a new game in months, so I'd have to Thank you. Thank you, Blinded Eagle. Let's help Locke with his sale here. It's 60 right now, right? Okay, it's 60. Or usually it's 70 or... Yeah, I just haven't bought a new game in months. $70 for AAA games. Oh, man. Why are there so many animals here? Would I check out the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection? Maybe one day. I would have to replay those games, because I played the game on the PlayStation 1, and I played Metal Gear Solid 2, and I beat that one, but I haven't played any really in years, any of those games. Hello, I'm new to the channel. Hello, Sergio. How are you, man? Are you a Red Dead gamer? How did you come across my channel, if you mind me asking, Sergio? Love the cosplay. Thank you. Let me get over to his camp here. Where is his camp? Okay, hold on there, Locke. I'm gonna be at your camp in a little bit. Wait, what's wrong, Snake? Well, this game isn't dead. It's still a fun game. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed my cosplay. Okay, let's get over to his camp here. Help him sell this. Well, hello, Alman. How are you, man?
Opportunity. I swear, just come see. Listen, last time we didn't get along so good. What say you buy this map and we walk away friends? Wise choice, my friend. Wise choice.
That's the rare one that you can get with the treasure map when you buy from someone. Yo, you moved the camp? Oh. I know you can kill him and take his map, but this time decide not to kill him. What do you do in Red Dead Redemption 2 Live? I just hang out with my friends, sell some moonshine, you know, trader, do a bunch of bounty missions, hang out, chat a lot of different topics. Oh, I love the Ace Attorney games. I can't wait for the Apollo Ace Attorney collection to come out on in early 2024. I'm excited for that. Okay, I'm right here. Craft, cook, okay. Do some ammo here. Can you recommend me a top 5 or 10 pamphlets to buy from the fence and Red Dead Online? Well, one of the pamphlets to buy is split point ammo. That you definitely want to buy. You can just craft that with any bullets and a knife. You don't really need anything more than that. Dynamite arrows, explosive ammo, incendiary, yeah, that's really them. I don't really do much with the tonics. The tonics I don't really craft that much. I just tend to craft the ammo personally, Patrick. What game has a big impact on you as a person? I guess probably GTA 4, because GTA 4 has a lot of lessons in it too, and it has a very interesting story, and also because GTA 4 is in my hometown of New York. Jonathan, thank you for the super chat. Was the U.S. always against Nazi Germany, or did Hitler try to get the Americans to ally with Germany? Well, Hitler always hated America. He never liked America. He said really nasty things about Americans, and he thought that American soldiers were inferior to German soldiers. Um, uh, Even though the American government and the Nazi government hated each other, there was American companies that worked with the Nazi government. That did happen. There was American car companies that I know had connections. There was also American banks that had connections to Nazi Germany. So that was true. But as for the governments never really worked together. But there was giant companies that did. I think Crime Boss Rocket City is better than the new Saints Row game. Crime Boss is better acting. Well, thank you, Jame58, and thank you, U20, for that super chat. Also, also Jonathan. But yeah, that was let me see here. Yeah, Crime Boss was a better game. It wasn't perfect. It was really cringe at times, but it wasn't Saints Row levels of cringe. And thank you, JD. Stockton Rush made that drainage pipe and said on Twitter, "Safety is pure waste. Look where that got him. An imploded mess." That's the guy that was in the submarine, JD? There was a new Saints Row DLC? Wait, there was? Let me Google this. I might do a playthrough of it. Let's see. Saints Row Reboot DLC. Let's see. No, I don't see. Oh wait, there's a second expansion pack. Let's see. Let's see. What is the date that it comes out on? Let's just see here. Okay, it actually came out yesterday, it says. Okay, we'll probably do a playthrough of it then. Yeah, we'll probably do a playthrough of it. Okay, let me just finish crafting these and we'll go and sell. But is it true that the guy in the submarine that he had college kids design the sub? Is that actually true? Because I heard that from a few people. Is that actually true? Thank you, JD, for the super chat. Okay, we're ready whenever you guys are here. No, he made it himself? Oh. University of Washington designed it? What? I know there's a new Sniper Elite mission. I'm gonna have it up this weekend. It's sad that this game got abandoned to this day. It is. Thank you, Han. Thank you, Nahan, if I'm reading your name correctly. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat, man. But yeah, the thing about this is I was considering making a video one day, top 10 worst things that Rockstar's ever done, and I think that number 1 would be abandonment of Red Dead Online, because they let an entire community down. General, you have to, General, leave one of your posses. Yeah, leave one of your posses. I think that's the problem. Did you hear about the PS5 Slim actually getting leaked in court documents? I believe it's from an Activision Blizzard stuff going on right now. No, I actually didn't hear about that, Blinded Eagle. That's interesting, a PS5 Slim. Wonder if it's going to function the exact same. Will I play GTA The Sindako Chronicles? I'm considering it, yeah. I'm considering doing a playthrough of it. Thank you, Wrangle Gaming. I know you play as JD. I know, I've seen a little gameplay of it. What country would you be interested in seeing a GTA-style game centered around it? Maybe in Japan? Maybe they could do, like, an open-world Yakuza game. Like, I know that we have the Yakuza games, but, like, I mean, a game where you drive around in vehicles and stuff like that. Like, maybe we could see something like that in Japan. I'm ready whenever you are. Whenever you're ready to sell, I'm ready. So just sell whenever you're ready. Did you ever like any of the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire? Which movie was your favorite? A 1, 2, or 3? I think the first one was my favorite one with Tobey Maguire, but I think the Tobey Maguire movies are still always the best Spider-Man movies. That's what I think. But I haven't seen that new Spider-Man movie, the Spider-Man Homecoming. But there's one thing I don't understand about the Spider-Man Homecoming movie. So a lot of the villains came back to life that died, right? Like, I don't know this because I haven't seen the movie, but I know a lot of the villains from the old movies come back. But my question is, why couldn't they bring back Harry? Why couldn't they bring him back to life if they brought back a lot of the other characters in Spider-Man Homecoming? I don't know if there's an explanation for that or what, but, I know it's not the Maguire universe, but a lot of the Maguire villains show up there. I know that. That it's one of the Spider-Man movies where the villains come back to life and... Oh, that's No Way Home, not Homecoming. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know the movies. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know the movies. Well, at least they brought Tobey in that. I know Tobey was in the movie. But yeah, Tobey Maguire, for me, is like the best Spider-Man. I think that... I think he's the best one that played it. James Franco is a controversial guy to bring. Well, I don't know anything about James Franco's personal life. I did see a movie with James Franco yesterday. I watched the Great Raid yesterday. It's a World War II movie with James Franco. It's free on YouTube. Pro should get a role in Sniper Elite 6. If I can voice a character in Sniper Elite 6, that'd be awesome. But, you know something, if I could star in a video game movie, right? You know what video game I would like to have a movie? And you know what character I would like to play in that video game movie that I actually think I would actually do a decent job at? Anybody know Fallout New Vegas? I think Fallout New Vegas should get a movie one day. But with Fallout New Vegas, you know what character I'd like to play in Fallout New Vegas? They're not really a big character. But I think I could play the character pretty well. Get over here. No, not Boone. I would if I could play one character in a Fallout New Vegas movie. If I could play one character, I would play one of the Omerta gangsters. So one of the Omerta thugs, the Mafia. I would play one of them if I could play in a Fallout New Vegas movie. I think I would actually do a pretty good job with it. I think I could do the accents pretty well. It's like, hey kid, how you doing? I think I could do that accent, or I could do like the little bit of a deeper, like the deeper accent, which is like, hey Deech, what are we doing today? Like I could do that type of accent, like the Omerta ones. So that's what I would like to do if I could play like one of the mobsters in Fallout New Vegas, in the Fallout New Vegas movie. Okay, Saint Denis here. I don't remember the Omerta gangster names. I don't remember them. I wouldn't be able to play as Big Sal because Big Sal is is a much older character. But I could probably play as like one of the background mobsters. That's what I could probably play as. If I couldn't play as one of the Omertas, I'd like to play as the powder ganger leader. What's his name? Eddie in the prison. Is there a high demand bonus for Red Dead Online? No, there isn't. So it doesn't really matter the amount of players. Can you do the master from Fallout 1? Oh, no, I wouldn't be able to do that voice. He has two voices, really, also. If Hitler and the Nazis had... Well, what I'll say, TB, is that if the Nazis had won World War II, they would have killed hundreds of millions of people. Pretty much all of Eastern Europe. What would have... If Nazi Germany had successfully taken over Europe, what basically would have happened is that Western Europe would have been Germanified. So the French would have been Germanified. Basically what that means is that their languages would have been banned. They would have been forced to learn German and to adopt German culture. So Western and Northern Europe would have been Germanified. Eastern Europe, on the other hand, the vast majority of people would be killed or enslaved. So the Nazis would have mass murdered pretty much all the Slavic people in Eastern Europe, or they would have deported them to Siberia. That's what they have done, because that's what the Nazis were trying to do when they invaded the Soviet Union. They wanted to use Eastern Europe as basically land for Germany. They were going to colonize it and put Germans on that land, and they were just going to kill all the inhabitants on that land. But the Nazis really, really hated Slavic people, and they would have mass murdered hundreds of millions of more people if they would have won World War II in Eastern Europe, especially in Eastern Europe. I'm gonna be playing the new Sniper Elite mission. I heard there's some crazy new Nazi super weapon you have to destroy in the new Sniper Elite mission. I'm gonna be playing it this weekend. I'll do a playthrough of it. Okay. Did you hear about the teen who got found guilty for killing his Spanish teacher over a grade? He's expected to have life with parole in 35 years. My God, what is wrong with people? Some people are such psychos. Thank you, Blinded Eagle, for the super chat. Do you think it would have been a nice addition in Panzer Grenadiers and Sniper Elite 5 Bulge DLC? Mainly because there's only Faust dudes. Here's what I'll say is that some of the rocket troopers in like the older Sniper Elite games, like Sniper Elite V2, were really, really annoying because they would hit you with those they would fire a Panzerfaust at you, and they would hit you with a Panzerfaust from like 200 meters with perfect accuracy, which a Panzerfaust at that range, you're not able to hit something at 200 meters accurately with a Panzerfaust. Panzerfaust is not a very accurate rocket at all. And so that's like one thing I didn't like with the rocket troops in Sniper Elite V2 is that they hit you with such perfect accuracy with those Panzerfausts. It's really annoying. What about the UK? Probably would have been Germanified too. And honestly, Germany would have betrayed it. Would have probably betrayed Italy. That probably would have happened. They wouldn't have. Germany would have probably betrayed Italy if they had won the war. Yes, I want to do playthroughs of the old Ace Combat games again one day. Their Fausts are Hellfire scripted, in my opinion, for them. Well, you know what I'll tell you something is that when Sniper, the most elite units the most elite enemies that you fight in Sniper Elite are the paratroopers, the German paratroopers. And the thing about that is, I wish that the German paratroopers, when they would actually spawn, they'd actually just deploy from the air, and so you have no idea where they're coming in. I thought that would have been a very nice feature to Sniper Elite. But If Sniper Elite is gonna go anywhere now, do you know where it's probably gonna be going? It's probably going to the Battle of the Bulge or the Pacific. That's what's probably gonna happen. The Battle of the Bulge is that really big snow battle that you hear about in Western Europe, and the Pacific, Carl hasn't been there yet. That would also be interesting to see. Gotten much better at first person. Oh. Hold on. Damn, my controller. Controller died at the worst moment here. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay. Okay, Okay. Here we go. What's your question? Shaheen, what's your... It's nice Ace Combat still uses F-15 MTD since it retired in real life. I really don't know much about planes. I know they have a lot of the classic ones. I did always like that game, but even though I like the Ace Combat games, I know virtually nothing really about jets. I know much more about firearms. Planes, not really. My favorite aircraft in the Ace Combat 7 was always the SU. The SU, I forget which one it was. It was a fighter, but it was also able to drop bombs. That was one of my favorite ones. I know it was a Russian plane. That was my favorite one in Ace Combat. You missed my super chat. I'm sorry, Mario. Let me see here. Did you watch those videos I sent you yet? Also, they were celebrating those, well, nobody should be celebrating anybody's death. That's just horrible. Anybody that would do that. It's just, I don't know what's wrong with people these days, Mario. And, I haven't gotten a chance to watch those videos yet, but I will, because I haven't been to the gym yet. But when I go to the gym, Mario, I'll probably watch all of those videos when I have the time, and then I'll let you know what I think. Is Assassin's Creed good? Is Assassin's Creed good for learning about world history? Some of the events, yes. Some of them, no. What is it? In Assassin's Creed 1, most of the people that you kill in Assassin's Creed 1, most of the targets are actually real people. Most of the targets that you killed. There's that one doctor in Assassin's Creed 1, Garnier de Nepalus, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. But in real life, he wasn't cruel like that. Like, he wasn't like a horrible human being that enjoyed torture like they had in Assassin's Creed 1. So that was a very inaccurate depiction of him, personally. But the one thing that they did get right was that Garnier and King Richard really hated each other. They got that right. But there's no proof that Garnier was this crazy, sadistic, guy torturing people in, like, a hospital that they had in, like, Assassin's Creed 1. When it came, the most historically accurate Assassin's Creed game that I've seen would have to be Assassin's Creed Unity. I think Assassin's Creed Unity was the most historical one, because Assassin's Creed Unity showed, like, the injustices that were going on when France was, like, a monarchy, and it showed, like, how the revolution went from, like, revolution started out as a good thing, but then got really psychotic over time. And, but the most historically accurate scenes in Assassin's Creed Unity are the multiplayer. If you play the multiplayer in Assassin's Creed Unity, like the co-op missions, the story co-op missions, those, like, take you through the events of the French Revolution, those are pretty accurate for the most part, that I've seen. Like the one with the Austrian conspiracy, that actually happened. There was, like, an Austrian conspiracy to invade France. That was true. So I would say that the multiplayer, if anything, got it right. Well, also, when Robespierre ordered the Girondists arrested, that actually did happen also. So a lot of the events that happened in the multiplayer in Assassin's Creed Unity, that did happen during the French Revolution. Let me see here. Have you heard about the Italian cruise ship that sank 11 years ago with that captain abandoning his ship and refusing to go back on board? Yeah, I remember that. I saw the phone call of that. I heard the phone call on YouTube where the captain was at. There was a guy from the Italian Navy asking the captain what happened, where he is, and he's like, he's in a lifeboat, and the Navy guy just gets really angry and says, why are you in a lifeboat? He's like, I fell into a lifeboat. He's like, no, you get back to the ship right now and you help the people. But yeah, that's the captain is supposed to be the last guy that gets off the ship. The captain is responsible for the ship. He's supposed to be the last guy that gets off the ship. Not that he abandons ship and just leaves all the people like that, but man, my god. I think that guy got a massive amount of prison time for that, though. What is your deadlift, barbell, squat, and bench? I don't really deadlift, but I do bench. When it comes to benching, I bench 135 pounds. I'm gonna try to, next time I go to the gym, I'm gonna try 140 pounds. But I bench 135 pounds. I know it might seem like I can't bench 135 pounds because I'm not that big of a guy, but I can. I can lift that. When it comes to dumbbells, I bench dumbbells also. I bench two 50-pound dumbbells. So, 50 pounds each hand, 100 pounds, I can do that too. But I can't really do much more than that. That's like really pushing it for me for dumbbells, 50 pounds in each hand. What is it also? The squats, squats I do like, I think like 3 sets of 20 I'll do. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Most of my workouts at the gym are just based on, like, my arms and, like, my upper body. That's pretty much what most of my workouts are. See here. I'm starting a job as a station supervisor on a local gas company. Can you give me some advice? Well, Jonathan, I can, but I would just like to ask you, I know this might be a little personal question. How much are they paying you per hour? You're a supervisor at that gas station? How much per hour are they paying you? I'm just, if you don't want to tell me, it's okay. But I was just very curious on that, because that might be important advice that I might give you, depending on what the answer is for that one. But you don't have to super chat me again. I'll look for your comment. Just let me know how much they pay you per hour for that. The Rising Sun Empire in World War II, because of their Bushido mindset, they treat any surrendered soldier like they Fallout Raiders. Well, Imperial Japan was very, very cruel to prisoners of war. Very, very cruel. The Japanese had very little to no compassion for prisoners. If you were taken as a prisoner, you had very little chances of surviving in Japanese captivity. Very, very little. I think the Assassin's Creed Unity is underrated. Oh, it definitely is. It had a lot of glitches at launch, unfortunately, and people remember it just for that, but it was a good game in the end. If GTA 6 does in fact have a collector's edition, will you buy it under specific circumstance? I'll buy the collector's edition. No matter what it is, I'll buy the collector's edition, just so I can do an unboxing and show you guys and tell you guys whether I think it's worth it or not. Thank you, Blinded Eagle. Thank you, nicest person in the universe. Pro, would you know how to fix the stick drift issue on my PS5 while playing GTA? My car keeps turning left, even though I'm not hitting the left stick. Yeah. What I'll say about that is, if you have an Edge controller, you can fix that just by buying a new stick and putting it in for 15 bucks. But if you don't have the Edge controller, if you don't have the Edge controller, there are certain things that you can do. Like, I think I saw like a video a long time ago where like the place where you plug in, microphone in your controller, that if you actually blow air into it, that sometimes will fix the stick drift. I've done that before, but that was only a temporary fix. It got rid of the stick drift for a little bit, but it almost always comes back. At that point, when your controller has stick drift, something, I'm not an expert, but something has, because you've been wearing it down, there's like a part in the controller when you move the stick a lot and you wear it down, and eventually that part gets loose or breaks or something in there, and then it causes stick drift. The only really thing to do at that point is to either get a new controller or you would have to take it apart. But if you're going to take it apart, you got to really know what you're doing because there's a lot of small parts in there. Do you know martial arts like Kung Fu or Taekwondo? No, I don't. Dirt Street, Saint. Let me see for Jonathan Perez. Did he respond to me? In the Philippines, it's $11 a day. It's the minimum wage of our country. Yeah, wait. Wait, they're paying you. They are paying you minimum wage to be a supervisor? Did I have that right? Jonathan, let me know. They're paying you minimum wage to be a supervisor. Am I right on that? What? $11 an hour? That's Yes, sir, you're correct. Wait, a day? It's $11 a... Wait, Jonathan. Wait, say again. It's $11 a day? What? Wait, I'm confused now. Oh, I'm about 6 feet. Do you train for strength or muscle mass? I wanna, I wanna have, like, noticeably larger hands, but I care mostly about strength, as I just want to be a stronger guy. Wait, Jonathan, can you explain a little bit more? Because I want to give you advice, but I just, could you explain a little bit more? Wait, what, Shaheen? In the Philippines, we are paid here by the day of work. The minimum wage of our country is 610 pesos, equivalent to $11 a day. Oh, man, that's horrible. $11 a day, that's, Look, Jonathan, here's my advice to you on this. If you feel that you really need the money and there's nowhere else that you can go, then I guess do it for a little bit of time, just until you can find a job, because I don't know what the other jobs there are paying, but I'm telling you, that's not a good place to stay at. Get out of that job as soon as you can. Get out of it. Because it's, because they're paying you minimum wage, what, $11 a day for being a supervisor? That's horrible. And the thing is, you're not just a regular worker, but you're a supervisor. Being paid $11, the minimum wage for being a supervisor? That's, the price commodities are high, yet the salary are still low. I'm really sorry that you go through that. Let me ask you something right now, Jonathan. Are there, like, other gas station workers there at that job? I mean, you said that you're a supervisor, right? Are there like other gas station employees there? Like just regular, you know, employees like a cashier or like, you know, something like that? Are there people like that at that job? Uh Okay, see Moonshiner here. Pro, what is your dream bench press? I want to be able to bench 200 one day. There it is, like pump assistants and cashiers, and they paid lower than me, like $9 a day. But wait, I thought you said the minimum wage was $11. I'm confused now. What are your thoughts on that sub that imploded while diving to the Titanic? It's horrible, and uh, it's horrible, and the I hope the company is held responsible for that. U20. They are paid below the minimum wage because they are doing more minimal work than me. Wait, what? Jonathan, I'm confused. Minimum wage is what you're allowed to pay somebody by default. So it doesn't matter the amount of work they do. It's the amount, minimum wage is what you have to pay somebody minimally, regardless of how much work they do. So I'm just a bit confused. What do you mean right now? Serious question. What are your thoughts on guys watching shows that are appealing to girls, even though it's not that are appealing to girls, even though it's not appealing to girls? Well, I don't know what show you're talking about, Irma, but people can watch whatever they want. As long as it's not something bad that they're watching, if it's like a TV show or whatever, you know, who cares what people watch? So as long as it's not something illegal, not something bad, you know, watch whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. I mean, you know, you have people, for example, that are like very sexist against, you know, female gamers also a lot of times, because you'll have like most of these games like Call of Duty, for example, mostly guys play that, but there are occasionally female gamers that play, and there are some players, some guys out there that are like very sexist towards like towards girls when they play those games. And so I say let people play what game they want, let people watch what game they want, let watch TV show what they want. You know, who cares? It's not and honestly the people who like care about that, like they're the type of people that like to intervene in your personal life, and those are not people that you know. Yeah. So I hope I explained that. You know, I don't know what type of TV show you're talking about, Irma, but if it's like a if it's not something bad, not something illegal, just something on TV, then people watch whatever they want. Doesn't matter.
The new recipe. C'est facile. I am ready.
Wait, so Jonathan, those gas station workers, are they being paid illegally under minimum wage at your job? Hey, Pro, what Sopranos death shocked you the most? The Sopranos death that shocked me the most. Thank you, Hambugler, for the super chat. Ralph's death, or Ralph, or Ralph or Chris. Yeah, maybe Chris. What are your thoughts on Chiang Kai-shek and why there's statues of him in Taiwan? Well, 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 Jesus 23, to answer your question about Chiang Kai-shek, is a lot of Taiwanese people see Chiang Kai-shek as the founder of their country, and they see him as a hero. That's why there's statues of him in Taiwan. But if you look at Chiang Kai-shek on a historical level, Chiang Kai-shek was not a good man. He did do some bad things. However, though, if you compare him to Mao Zedong, Mao Zedong is much more evil and much worse than Chiang Kai-shek. So if it's, I don't know where the complaints are coming from, if it's coming from China, but China really has no right to complain about a statue of Chiang Kai-shek in Taiwan when they have, like, statues dedicated to Mao Zedong, who literally murdered millions and millions of people. So there's, like, so not defending Chiang Kai-shek, I know he did some bad things too, but it's like, if you compare him to, like, Mao Zedong is just so much worse than Chiang. Let me see here. I heard back in the 70s horses were mistreated and have died while filming those old Western movies. I wouldn't be surprised they are, because they're the directors just see them as something that's to make the money on the TV show, pretty much. TV show, movie. I can't say illegally because companies in the Philippines always look in college degrees. If you don't have a college degree, you won't get a decent salary. Well, that's stupid. It shouldn't. It's the only time a college degree should matter in a job is if it's a job that you specifically need that college degree for. If I want to be a doctor, right? Then I would need to show my credentials that I went to this school or whatever to become a doctor. But if I'm working at, like, you know, a gas station, like in your example, it shouldn't matter if I have if one person has a college degree and I don't. The person with the college degree shouldn't be getting paid more just because they have a college degree, because that has no tie to the job whatsoever, nothing. So that's stupid. Wait, what happened, Chaz?
Anyone would think you don't have any work to do.
See here, okay, my face cam is right here. Wait, what? But Jonathan, I'm trying to give you advice, but I'm just a bit confused on your story, because you're saying that the minimum wage is $11, but then you're saying that there's people that are paid $9, but then you're also saying that they're not paid illegally. What do you mean by that? Can you explain? Because that's just confusing me. Oh, and I gotta check my moonshine, right? Let's see what the moonshine is even at here.
I have finished this.
Oh, moonshine is ready here.
Sell it when you like. So, what shall we
It is, Manix, you're right.
Good. You have arrived.
Yeah, I would say so too, Blinded Eagle.
You are ready to drive, yes? Our clients are a little impatient for sure. We wish to make a good impression. These customers have shown they have some good taste. Their palate is simple, of course, but given their lack of culture...
Well, the Just Stop Oil protesters, JD,
chosen well.
a lot of them are really stupid. But here's...
Quickly and in one piece, yes?
Here's what I will say about the Just Stop Oil people. Do you know what I think about the Just Stop Oil people? I don't think they're protesters. I think they're criminals. That's what I think basically about it, because protesting in most countries like Great Britain is a legal action. You can protest in Great Britain. That's where most of these Just Stop Oil protests are happening. But what you don't have the right to is you don't have the right to block the road. You can't block the road. You can't graffiti stuff. You can't throw paint on people. You can't interrupt sporting tournaments. You can't do stuff like that. So all of the stuff that these Just Stop Oil people are doing, this is not protesting. That's a crime. Those are crimes that they're committing. And so that's my thoughts on the Just Stop Oil people. I think that a lot of them are stupid. I don't deny climate change or anything like that, but there's better ways of going about this. Not just like, doing crap like that. Like when you block the roads, you're not getting people to listen to your cause. All you're doing is getting people to hate you. People hate your guts when you do stuff like that. So that's what I'll pretty much say about Just Stop Oil. Is and I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something also. Is look, I have a lot of respect for law enforcement. I went to school for law enforcement technology. But when I look at some of these British cops, when I look at like what they're doing, they seem useless to me. I'm not trying to offend anybody that works in law enforcement or anything like that in Britain. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for people in law enforcement. But when I see the way that the police act, like when these Just Stop Oil people are doing, like the police do nothing a lot of times. And I'm like basically thinking to myself, like, what are you there for? It's like the police are there more to make sure that other people don't hurt Just Stop Oil instead of just stopping Just Stop Oil from committing crimes. Because I saw this one video on YouTube where there was a guy driving a van to work, right? And the Just Stop Oil people jump in front of his van, like literally just blocking his van. And he can't get through, and they have like a bunch of like signs protesting. And the guy gets really pissed off, gets out of his van, tells them to move. They don't want to move. What the guy does at that point is the guy then kind of grabs one of them. He doesn't like throw them, but he kind of like grabs one of them just so he can pull them away from the road, just so he can move his car and get through. And the cop immediately gets in his face. Like the British cops were standing like right there. They saw the whole thing happen. They did nothing when they were blocking the road. Nothing. But the second the guy went over and tried to move the people off the road, that's when the British police like got in the guy's face and told the guy like, no, you can't do that. Well, yes, I know he can't. It's obvious he can't touch other people like that. He can't move them. But the only reason he did that was because the British police were doing nothing. Like nothing. It's like, why were they just standing there? They were just not doing anything. If anything, I don't think the British police really, I don't think the British police like Just Stop Oil, but the reason that I think they don't do anything is they're probably worried about two things. They're probably worried about either getting sued by the protesters, because these protesters are so stupid that they will even sue cops. So they're either probably worried about that, or they're probably worried about the protesters like taking out their camera and filming the cops and doing something stupid. That's probably what they're worried about too happening. So the police oftentimes just don't do anything, and that's, yeah. That's what I'll say about that. Let's get over to our moonshine here. Okay, But Jonathan, is that legal? Is that legal in your country? Like for them to be paid like that? Sure, Locke, I can invite you.
I am doing it now.
Has anyone here ever watched Alex Costa? For anyone who hasn't, he gives a lot of advice with men's fitness, fashion, hair, skin, and overall health. He's well known to almost 4 million subs on YouTube. No, I've never heard of him, Blinded Eagle. Thank you for the super chat, but I've never heard of him before. Just Stop Oil recently disrupted a tennis match at Wimbledon. The UK police are more interested in arresting people online for wrongful. Thank you, thank you, Mario, for the super chat. But yeah, it's like, does anybody else agree with me on that? Has anybody else here seen those Just Stop Oil protests? Like, I've done videos on them several times, but you notice how, like, the British police do nothing in the Just Stop Oil protests? Like, I can't be the only one who's seeing this. Like, has anybody, like, does anybody agree with me that they don't do anything a lot of times? It's not stated in the law, but I believe that's not legal. Well, here's the thing, Jonathan. Minimum wage is not based on, it's not based on how much work you do. Minimum wage is just the minimal amount that you can pay somebody. So literally, somebody could give me like a job, right? Give me a job. And all I basically have to do is I have to sit in a security room and just buzz people in. That's all I have to do. So like when people come to the door, all I gotta do is buzz them in. Nothing else. Like, I don't have to check them, do anything, and all I gotta do is buzz people in when they ask. That's it. A job like that requires minimal effort. Very little to no work. But I still have to do something. I'm still technically working. I'm still technically at the place. So they have to still pay me a minimum wage. Minimum wage is the minimal amount that they're allowed to pay you. It doesn't depend on the amount of work you do. Obviously, jobs that involve more labor typically get paid more. But but minimum wage is just the amount that they're minimally allowed to pay you for whatever job you have. So that's why I'm telling you, Jonathan, if you're telling me the minimum wage is $11 and they're paying those gas station workers $9 an hour, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. I don't know Philippine law that well, but under American law, that would definitely be illegal, what they're doing. So that would, that's what I would say about this. But look, here's what I would do. If I was you, go on Google and look up gas station supervisors. Just look them up in your area, like in your country. Look up what their average salary is, like how much are they average paid, and compare that to your job. And then that way you'll get a better understanding of if you're getting ripped off or not. But when you're telling me that you're getting paid minimum wage to be a supervisor at a gas station, that's so stupid. That really is stupid. You're being paid minimum wage at a gas station. That's dumb. Because a gas station supervisor runs the gas station when the manager isn't there. So you have somebody running the gas station when the manager isn't there. And you're paying them minimum wage. That's stupid. Omega Stream. I haven't played Omega Stream, but I would be willing to play it one day. What if Just Stop Oil tried in America? Well, protesters try to block roads in America. It depends on the state, but a lot of times they get arrested. Where in Britain, they actually don't get arrested. Well, look, Kratos. I don't know who you're applying to, Kratos, but I'm not saying that people like Just Stop Oil don't have a right to protest. Everyone has a right to protest, even if what they're protesting for is stupid. Everybody has a right to protest something. But what Just Stop Oil is doing, it's not a protest. It's a crime. Because they're blocking roads. You don't have the right to block a road when you protest. You can't do that. That's not protesting. That's literally holding up traffic. That's restricting people's freedom of movement. You're literally holding people up. Just Stop Oil, they also do graffiti. They throw orange paint on buildings. That's not protesting, that's vandalism. And, they interrupt, sporting games. They'll interrupt tournaments. I don't know what the charge for that would be. I'm like interrupting a tournament, but there would definitely be something for that. Like if you run in and you ruin a tournament that's happening, that's definitely a crime. I just don't know what it would be called, but that definitely is a crime. But you can't, Kratos. If they're blocking the highway, for example, if you're stuck on the highway and there's traffic and Just Stop Oil are blocking the highway, there's nothing you can do about that. There's no way to get around that. You have to wait until the protesters are pretty much arrested or they move. You can't drive around them, otherwise people would do that all the time. The places that Just Stop Oil stops at is they stop at places where they know they're going to disrupt traffic. They're going to cause a massive traffic jam. They selectively pick those locations. And also, look, there was this guy that I saw a story about, right? And this guy, his mom was having a stroke. This was in Britain. His mom was having a stroke. He tried to rush his mom to the hospital. He gets on the highway. When he gets on the highway, Just Stop Oil are blocking the highway. The guy can't get through for hours. He's begging them to move. They don't move. When he gets to the hospital, you know what happened to the guy's mom? She survived, but she has permanent paralysis now. She's permanently paralyzed. I'm not sure where exactly, but I know she was permanently paralyzed somewhere. And they cannot reverse that. And the doctor said if they actually got there earlier, that they actually might have fixed it. They might have been able to stop it from happening. But now they can't. And I personally, for me, I blame those protesters for that. I think that's on them. I think that's their fault, what happened. Not the stroke itself, but the fact that she wasn't able to get the proper medical coverage. Yes, that's on them. That's their fault. And I think that they should be charged for that, 100%. And the leaders of Just Stop Oil were unapologetic over it. They were unapologetic. And some of them even called it collateral damage. Some of them even called it that. And so that's why I say is a lot of these people are very scummy. And that's, I personally blame them for that happened. But just go on Google and look it up. Guy's mom that was paralyzed in Britain, and you'll find the story about that. And that's why I say is you can't block roads. Because when you block a road, you never know who's coming through. You might have an ambulance with somebody that's dying that needs to get through. You might have a fire truck that needs to go to a burning building. You might have a cop that needs to get to a place where there's a criminal hurting people. So you never know, like, when you're blocking a road, you never know who you're holding up. And that could have dire consequences. Okay, let's get over this location here. But, guys, tomorrow I'm gonna have another crazy current events video up. And I haven't had a crazy current events video up in a few weeks. I apologize for that. It's just the GTA Online update is what really held me up from that. But for people that are unaware of my crazy current events series, it's a series where I play a video game in the background and I react to something ridiculous that's going on. And, basically, this guy, it was in Colorado. He works at a big, retail store. And what happened is you had an organized group of shoplifters that came into the store. And this organized group of shoplifters, they filled up their cart with detergent, like Tide, the more expensive stuff. And what they did was they rushed it to their car. And in the parking lot, they had a driver waiting in the parking lot. And the driver, they had the license plate covered up. And that was because these guys have done it before. These guys have stolen from other stores before. It's an organized group of shoplifters. They run into a store, steal hundreds of dollars for merchandise, and then get out. And they do it they do it multiple times to the same location. So they might come back like a few weeks later and do it to the same place again. And now, about these guys, one of the employees got really sick of this theft that was happening constantly. So one of the employees, and it's on the video, one of the employees followed the shoplifters outside. And you know what he did? He filmed the shoplifters. He filmed them. He didn't touch them. He just filmed them. Just putting the stuff in their car. And what happened is when the shoplifters were trying to drive away, they had a big sticker that was on their license plate. so that you couldn't see the license plate. He pulled that sticker off as they were trying to drive away, and he got the entire license plate on camera. And the shoplifters actually got arrested. So the police found them, and they arrested the shoplifters. And the police actually even thanked the guy. They thanked the guy for recording the license plate, getting the sticker off. The guy was able to get those criminals off the streets. Now, what do you think happened to this guy? Do you think the company gave him a good raise? You think the company maybe gave him a promotion? He saved them hundreds of dollars for merchandise. You think a good employee like that you'd have their back, right? Well, no. Guess what happened? The company fired him. They fired him because, according to the company, you were not supposed to confront shoplifters, and that was their policy. But he didn't confront anybody. He literally followed them, recorded them in their car, and recorded the license plate. And he got fired over that. I'm gonna have a video about that tomorrow. But honestly, as somebody who I've worked in retail for many years, this honestly pisses me the hell off. Like, you know, when I hear about stories like that, honestly, it just pisses me the hell off. And I'm gonna have a video about it tomorrow. So if you want to watch my video, it'll be up tomorrow. I'll be talking about this specific story. But that's excuse my language, BS. So that's stupid as hell. That is really, really dumb. And I'll tell you something right now. This company is so stupid and so idiotic that this company is now going to lose more money by firing him than keeping him on. Because, and I'm not just talking about the theft. I'm not just talking about the thefts. I'm talking about the fact that people are going to boycott this store. Because this is apparently like a big store in Colorado. There's like several of these stores. And so, I don't remember the company name. I'll have it in the video. But people are going to boycott this store. They're not going to shop at this store anymore. Because I'll tell you something. If I found out that like my supermarket did that to somebody, fired them over that, I would not shop there anymore. I wouldn't go there anymore. So I know there's going to be lots of people who are going to boycott this store, and this store is going to lose thousands and thousands of dollars over time now for something so stupid, and they're going to give themselves nothing but bad press right now. So they're idiots, absolute idiots. And I hope that their store goes out of business, because they don't deserve a good employee like that. That guy is a model employee. He's a model employee. He literally saved the store hundreds of dollars. Literally, because those shoplifters would have done it again. They would have come into that store, or they would have gone into another location of theirs. He got literally, these shoplifters. This was not just some people that were like poor and desperate on the street and just stealing stuff, you know, stealing food from the market. These were organized groups of shoplifters, organized criminals that were coming into stores, literally filling up a cart and getting out of there really quickly. So these guys have stolen thousands of dollars of merchandise in the past, and this guy's gotten them off the streets. He got them all arrested. And the police even said he did good. The police even said he did a good job. And yet the company itself won't have his back and fires him. Just absolute disgusting. But just go on Google and look it up. You know, Colorado man records shoplifters get fired. It literally happened like 2 days ago. So I'll have a video of it tomorrow. But honestly, it just pisses me off so much. Because I worked in retail, and it was just, damn, it was just, the company just never has your back for crap like that. Literally, I tell you something. Do you know what my company's policy was? My company's policy regarding shoplifting that I worked? They actually wanted you to actually go outside, follow them, and to actually write down or take a picture of their license plate. Now, even though what the guy did was really heroic, and, you know, he got those organized groups of shoplifters out, that wasn't required. He just did that on his own free will. But my company, on the other hand, the loss prevention manager, remember, he said that if somebody robs the store, you comply with them, or if they shoplift, you know, you don't let them, you don't confront them, but if you can, follow them out to the parking lot and record their license plate. No, if somebody robs the store, I'm not going to follow them out to the car and, like, write down their license plate. I'm getting paid a little over minimum wage. I'm not getting paid enough for this. So that's, you know, but in this case, this was a little bit different with this guy, because he was probably sick of these organized groups of shoplifters, and he did it on his own will. It wasn't like policy or anything like that, and I think he did a good thing. You know, he got these scumbags off the street. They're arrested. They're in jail now. Will I ever do workout videos? Oh, no, probably not. No, definitely not. I'm not, you know, people will probably laugh at me, like, working out too, so it would, yeah, it wouldn't be good. But it was, yeah, let me, 3.5 years I've been supporting. Time flies. By the way, I changed my handle. I used to be Gaming Beast, so you know who I am. Oh, hey, how are you, Gaming Beast? Thank you for sponsoring my channel for 3.5 years. I do really appreciate it, man. You are awesome. Thank you.
Come on now, giddy up.
Okay. What's going on over here? I believe in 2022, 50,000 trucks blocked roads in Canada, mainly Ottawa. Are you talking about the trucker protest? Is that what you're talking about specifically? Thank you for the super chat, Bunny. Thank you, man. And the trucker protest, I'm not completely knowledgeable about it in Canada, but the truckers in Canada, didn't they just block like government buildings and literally protest in front of government buildings? Wasn't that mostly it? Like, were they blocking highways too? Because if they were blocking highways like Just Stop Oil, then that's wrong too. But I think the truckers, I think they were the ones in Canada, I think they were just blocking like government buildings. I think, which technically still is a crime, but it's not as bad as like blocking highways, for example. The public are probably gonna get tired to the point where, yeah, I mean, eventually something like that, God forbid, could happen if the police don't step up. JD. Thank you, Neptune. Hey, Patrick. Haven't super chatted in a while. Do you have a business email I can contact? I have a proposition for your channel. Keep up the good work. I do. It's on my About Me page, if you want to check it out on my channel. Thank you, Neptune. See here. I don't hate any protesters, Kratos. I don't know what you're talking about, man. I just told you, protesters can't block roads. You can protest all you want, but you can't block roads. That's what I said. Oh, you got a moonshine sale? We can help you with that lock. But look, I'll tell you guys this. As somebody who worked in retail for 6 years, right? I'll tell you this. Do you know what companies could do to stop a lot of shoplifting, but they're so cheap they don't? You know what the one simple thing companies could do to stop a lot of shoplifting? Get security. That's all. It's as simple as that. You don't have to have a whole team of security guards, but get at least one security guard. That's it. It's not going to stop every single shoplifting. But have that security guard be right at the door. And make sure it's a big guy. And I'm telling you, when you have that, very few to no people are going to try to run out the door with hundreds of dollars worth of merchandise if you have some big guy at the door. So these retail stores are making like thousands and thousands of dollars in a day. Why can they not hire at least just one security guard to stand at the door? And that security guard wouldn't be there just to stop the shoplifting, but would be there also to protect the employees, because the employees have no protection whatsoever. Because I remember that I was talking to my professor once about this. My professor was like a DEA agent. That's Drug Enforcement Administration in college. And I went to school for law enforcement technology. And I remember my professor and me were having a discussion once about retail and like theft and stuff like that. And he asked me what the policy is if you get robbed, like if you're getting robbed in retail. And I told him that generally the policy is that you're supposed to comply, with the robber. And if you don't, you get fired. And he told me, but what if you feel really threatened by the robber? What if you feel like he's going to hurt you? And I said, well, the policy technically still is that you're supposed to comply with the robber. Even if you feel like the robber's going to hurt you, you still have to comply with the robber. And my professor said that's really stupid, because the robber could still hurt you even if you give him the money that he wants. And I asked my professor, and I asked him, like, if I comply with the robber, if I follow like company policy, like, you know, robber comes in the store and I follow company policy and I comply with him, and he still hurts me, then could I sue for that? And he said, yes, you can at that point. If you're following company policy and they're telling you not to fight back against robbers and you comply with them and they still hurt you, then yes, you probably could. That's what my teacher said. Don't know if that's fully true, but that's at least what my professor had told me when I was in college. But that's the thing about this is, you know, it's not worth risking your life over minimum wage if somebody's like robbing a store that you work at. I get that. But if this is like some crazy psycho guy that's like on drugs or something like that comes in, like, you know, is just waving a knife or a gun around, somebody might want to take him down because a person like that is very unstable and you don't know what that person is going to do. They could still hurt somebody regardless of whether you give them the money or not. So a lot of these people that do these robberies in stores are drug addicts. They're very unstable people. And so that's what I'll say about that you know, these companies are just so cheap. I don't know why you can't just get a security guard, hire the security guard at your store. There was this one episode of Undercover Boss that I watched like a really long time ago. I forget what the store was. It was a clothing store. I remember that. And what happened was an alarm went off in the store. And the undercover boss is pretending to be an employee, and he hears this alarm, and he asks, "What's that alarm?" And the employee tells him, "Oh, that's the shoplifting, like, you know, alarm." He's like, somebody ran out the door of like hundreds of dollars worth of merchandise, of like clothes and jackets and stuff like that. And he said to her, like, you know, why doesn't anybody stop them? He's like, we can't. And then she said, he's like, where's the security? He's like, we don't have security. The company doesn't want security. And so this is like the CEO of the company. And apparently he didn't even know that this company doesn't have security at their locations. But that's what I say is that a company does not just have an obligation to protect their money, but also they have an obligation to protect their employees above all else. Your employees work for you, and a company has an obligation to protect the well-being and the safety of their employees. And so that's what I don't get about these companies. These companies are so cheap. Is like these retail companies make thousands of dollars like in a day in like one store. Why is it so hard to hire one security guard at the store? Is that really so damn hard to do? Yeah, that's actually the video I'm talking about, Blinded Eagle. That I know Inside Edition covered it, but I'm gonna have a video talking about it tomorrow. Yes, I was talking about the trucker protests. Some were even blocking bridges between the U.S., Canada, and Canada over mandates. Okay. Well, look. You can't block roads, you can't block bridges, you can't do that. It doesn't really matter what your protest is about. But here's what I'll tell you about the protest, the one that happened in Canada with the truckers. I understand why they were pissed off. I get why they were pissed off, because just the mandates that the government was doing. But what I will say about this is that the way, you know, while they should have been blocking bridges, the way the government handled it was horrible. Like, the way the Canadian government handled it was absolutely horrible. Like, when the Canadian government was freezing people's bank accounts for being involved in that, that's like, I've never heard about something like that a government would freeze your bank account. But that's what apparently happened in Canada. So, what I was saying is, like, I'm not condoning blocking bridges or anything like that. I'm just saying the way the Canadian government responded to that by, like, you know, freezing bank accounts, that's your money. That's your money. The Canadian government has no right to touch that. That's just disgusting, and I think that was just what they did. That was really stupid. Are security guards more like scarecrows? Yes, I know what you mean by that. Security guards are meant to be more of a deterrent. They're meant to be more. You see the security guard, and you're not willing to risk committing a crime. That's pretty much what security guards are there for. That's what a deterrent is. A deterrent is basically when somebody sees something and they're not going to commit a crime because of that. Like, and a deterrent doesn't always have to be a person. A deterrent might even be a camera. Like, a robber might consider stealing. Like, somebody might consider stealing from a store, and they see cameras everywhere. And that's a deterrent because they realize they're going to be recorded, and so they're not going to steal. Okay, it's here. Human resource is the most important part. Sadly, some company choose profit rather than taking care of their own people. They rather lose people and money. Look, guys, here's what I will tell you. HR is not your friend. Human resources is not your friend. They're not. Human resources, the whole purpose of human resources as a company is to cover for the company. That's literally the whole purpose of it. They're not there to be your friend. They're just there to cover for the company. However, though, what I will say, though, if something bad is going on at your job, right? If something bad is going on at your job, if your boss is ripping you off, he's not paying you what he's supposed to be paying you, scamming you, if there's something even worse going on, like if you're getting sexually harassed, like something that your boss is doing something that he's not supposed to be doing, then go to HR at the start, but only go to HR so that there's a record, because you want to have it on record that you went to HR early on. And if HR does nothing about it at that point, if they do nothing, like, you go talk to a lawyer at that point. That's it. The lawyer is going to be more of your friend than HR is going to be. So that is, that's what I'll say about situations like that, is that you only go to the HR, not for them to help you, but just so it's on record that you made a complaint. Because then you can use that in court against them, saying, I went to HR and you guys did nothing. And then after that, wait until see if HR does anything. And if they don't do anything, talk to a lawyer at that point. And that will Sony needs Flight to come in and test their controller durability, seeing as notorious for breaking them. Raging is comedy gold. You gotta Flight to come in. Wait, Flight's a YouTube channel? I don't know who Flight is. Let me see here. But look, let me show you guys something. Hang on here. And Bunny, are you still here? By any chance, Bunny? But look, I might, you know what I'm gonna do? I might make an updated video. An updated video on the Edge controller. I might make an updated video on it. Because here's what it is, guys. Look, this is my Edge controller. So this is that really expensive new controller that came out, right? Look at this here. Look at this. See my finger? Look at this. Look. That's the grip. It peeled like that. See that? And look at the other grip, too. Look at this. See this one, too? Other grip. The exact same thing. That. And you can even see back here. Look at this. See this? This is peeling, too. And literally, I'm not yanking my controller. I'm not trying to rip my controller. This stuff is peeling on its own because it has rubber grips on here. And I might get some, like, electrical tape and tape this up because this is starting to annoy the hell out of me. But I might do a video. Maybe I'll do a video where I'll go back and review the Edge controller a second time and talk about this because it's been, what, half a year since I reviewed the controller? And so, I haven't had any stick drift yet with the controller. That I haven't had. And I've had controllers get stick drift on me in 6 months. I've had it happen. So, I haven't had any stick drift with the controller. But I have had the grips being peeled, and that's really stupid. So I'm not the only one. You've seen posts about people complaining about this issue. This with the grips. But yeah, these just get loose. And do you know what else? I'm also having another issue with this. See that? DualShock Edge wireless controller battery low. Now I'm charging this from my computer to be fair, but when I plug my USB cable into my PlayStation, right? I will leave the controller like that for hours, and it won't charge at all sometimes. Sometimes it'll charge, other times it won't charge at all. I don't know if it's... I thought that it was the wire at first. I thought maybe it's the wire that's a problem. And what I did was I bought another USB cable for charging. And what happened was for a week, it charged the controller just fine. And then after that, it stopped, and it did the same thing. When I plug the wire into the PlayStation, I'm able to use my controller. You know, it gets some battery, but it doesn't charge the controller. So if I take it out, the battery's going to die right away. And that's, are you charging it while the PS5 is off? No, I leave the PS5 on, and I just plug the controller in, but I don't know why it's doing that. I think you're meant to put it in the PS5 itself. What do you mean? Is there any, by the way, is there any free mode events coming up? Let's see here. Free mode events, Red Dead Online. Let's see here. Wildlife photographer? Ew, I'm not doing wildlife photographer. That's stupid. Okay, yeah, I'm not doing that, no. That challenge sucks. Damn, considering the price of the controller, it's the absolute bare minimum for Sony to make that issues like this don't occur. Thank you, Vex. But it's... Does anybody know the charging issue that I have? Does anybody know any way that I can fix it? Because it's like it doesn't charge at all. I don't know why. The exact same thing happens with my PS4 controller. I have it plugged in for like 4 hours, and the second I take it out, it says low battery. Yeah, and I changed the wire, and when I put in a new wire, it charged for like a week straight fine. But then after that, it started doing it again. Do I believe in the death penalty? I believe that it's up to the, I believe it's up to the family. That's what I think. I think that the family should be the one to decide that, if they want to pursue the death penalty or not. The victim's family. USB slot gets worn. How do I show my warranty? Because I bought this controller on Amazon, the Edge controller. So what do? Would I just print out my Amazon receipt? Is that my warranty? Pro, what do you think about Temu? Isn't that company that like sells like really expensive stuff for like really cheap? It's like a scam. Is that what I'm thinking of? Is that Temu? I think that's what Temu is. What flavor of ramen noodles do you like the most? I like spicy noodles. Thank you, Feline King. I like spicy, but not very spicy. I don't think I have the warranty slip anymore, if anything, because I threw out the box. I'm an idiot then. But I think my Amazon proof of purchase would be enough then. That would be it. I'll probably go to a Sony store. If a Sony store would replace that for me, if I went in and I told them, like, here's my Edge controller, here's what's going on, and, cheers for the help, Pro, and everyone. Catch you. Thank you, Locke. I think Temu is like a scam. I don't believe the death penalty works. It gives the criminals an easy way out, let them rot in that cell for the rest of their life, and be tortured in prison by fellow criminals. Now, let me tell you something else about this. There are criminals. Oftentimes, we use the death penalty to get criminals to plead. So, there's oftentimes criminals, for example, that the cops are pretty certain he did it. They know he did it, but there isn't direct evidence that that he did it. So it's not like an innocent man is getting convicted, but they know the guy did it. And what happens is that one movie, Law Abiding Citizen. The one thing that movie gets right about court is when it's not about what you know, it's about what you can prove. That's pretty much what it is. When some of these criminals, when they hear that they're going to get the death penalty, they will immediately plead guilty just so they can get life in prison, just so they don't get the death penalty. So when people say that criminals want an easy way out, it really depends on the criminal. Some criminals, sure, they probably prefer death penalty. Others, no. They'd rather actually live in prison for the rest of their lives than actually get the death penalty. And so that's what I'll, if you remove the death penalty, then if they plead, they're going to want a lesser sentence too. So sometimes you can use the death penalty to get criminals to actually plead guilty and get life in prison. You can actually use that. My issue with the Edge controller is this, Fernando. Look at this. It's the grips. See this? Look at this. Look at this. This happened after a few months, this. See how stupid this is? And that's my issue with the Edge, is that, specifically. I also have the charging issue, where just take out the charger and that happens. Like, it'll die within just, it'll die within a few seconds. So, I can, if I have the controller plugged in, I can keep playing forever, basically. But if I, the second I take it out, it dies. And so that's ridiculous a lot of times. So that's it. Sometimes, like, I'll leave the controller on and it'll charge for a little bit and I'll be able to play for a few hours. But that's, there's something wrong with the charging. If you bought, you should have gotten an email warranty. I'll check my email, Blinded Eagle. Thank you, also, Fernando. I think it's ultimately up to the family members, CW Games. Because here's the thing about this. If somebody gets a death penalty, they don't get executed right away. Usually they get executed after 15 to 20 years. So it'll be 15 to 20 years they're still rotting in prison for, and then they get executed for. You know, I'm kind of like in the middle when it comes to death penalty, but I do think the family has should have a choice. Like, the prosecutor should go to the family of the victim and say, do you want me to pursue the death penalty or not? Because if the prosecutor pursues the death penalty, every single time there's an appeal, because if the criminal appeals the death penalty, the victim's family will have to then show up to court and have to see that person who killed their family member. And they might not want to go through that. They might just want to rather him just get sent to prison for life. But some family members, on the other hand, might want him to get the death penalty. They might want that. So I guess it really depends on the situation. That's why I think ultimately it should be up to the family members. That's what I think. Well, I don't really want to get into political things. I don't want to get into political things, U20. But as far as I'll say, you know, for the whole Canadian protest, the Canadian trucker protest, you know, people were telling me they blocked bridges. You know, you can't block bridges, you can't do that. But the way the government handled it was horrible. How the government handled it, the government should have made some concessions to the protesters. That's what I think should have happened. If the government made some concessions to the protesters, then the protest would have probably largely stopped. But the government instead decided to freeze people's bank accounts. And I think that was horrible, horrible way to go about it. And so, like, literally, while I really hate talking politics, I really do. I tend to stay away from it. The Prime Minister of Canada, I'm not going to name him because I don't really talk politics, but every single time he's mentioned, every single time I see his face, every single time, I think to myself, that's the guy who froze people's bank accounts. That's literally what I think. Every single time I see his face, every time I see him in a headline or anything like that, that's literally what I think every single time I hear his name. Every single time I think of him. It's that. Because that's, like, one of the worst things I've ever heard a Western government do to their people. Like, literally, honestly, freezing their bank accounts. That's your money. The government can't touch that. That's, like, something that a regime does. Like, literally freezing your bank accounts. So that's just disgusting and ridiculous. It doesn't matter how you feel about the protest. Like, you can argue that the protests were wrong. You know, that's fine. But, literally, freezing somebody's bank account, You can't do something like that. Okay, maybe arrest them, maybe fine them. But to freeze their bank accounts, to tell them that they can't even touch their own money, the government can't do that. That's your money. That's what you saved for some time. They can't do that. Let me see here. The ghost train on this stream? No, people are telling me that the ghost train doesn't really appear in online, so probably not. Not telling? Well, let me take a look. Not telling. I'm sorry. It's a lot. Sometimes I talk a lot, and let me see here. Not telling. Where is it? I don't see your comment. I'm scrolling up. Yeah, I don't see your comment even when I Okay. A lot of misinformation about the Canadian truckers. A small faction within the demanded the government step aside. That was enough for the whole thing to be branded a terrorist cell. What? A small faction demanded the government to step aside. Well, I don't know what they mean by step aside. But look, every single protest, every single movement, you are always going to have some bad people that are going to be in every single movement. Even if the movement is a completely good movement, which I'm not really getting into this politically, but whatever, even if you have a protest that's for a good reason, right? You're always going to have like one or two idiots, even a small amount of people that makes it look bad. You're going to have some bad people that are always going to show up in anything when you have large numbers of people protesting something. But the message itself of the protest does not become invalid because there's like a because there's some, you know, there's one or two like bad people that are involved in something. In that, like, it was, for example, you know, maybe this isn't the best comparison, but I'll give you a comparison. So Red Dead Online, the game that you're watching me play right now, there was a movement for Red Dead Online. It was called Save Red Dead Online. And the movement, basically, the whole purpose of Save Red Dead Online was to save Red Dead Online. That was really the whole purpose of it. It was to try to get the developers' attention so that they would see fans care about this game. We like this game. We're here as a community, and we want this game to receive its fair share of updates. That's basically what it was. However, though, there was a few idiots from the Save Red Dead Online protest who, what they did was they started harassing developers. They started harassing and threatening Rockstar developers to make more content for Red Dead Online. This was a very, very small amount. Very, very small amount of the Save Red Dead Online fans. It was a very small amount. It was very insignificant. Because I honestly don't know any YouTuber. Like, there was a lot of YouTubers and, like, Twitter users and stuff that shared this, like, Save Red Dead Online. I don't know of any person who honestly said to go harass Rockstar devs. I said in my video several times, don't harass Rockstar devs. Just make it clear that you want an update for Red Dead Online. That's it. Just post the hashtag Save Red Dead Online. That's all you gotta do. But what happened is the Rockstar fanboys, because there's Rockstar fanboys. They are out there. There's Rockstar fanboys who were defending Rockstar canceling Red Dead Online, and what they were doing is they were basically picking and choosing. So they were ignoring the 95% of positive comments saying we want a good Red Dead Online content, and what they were doing is they were just picking the 5% of people that were very, like, rude, toxic towards Rockstar, and just saying nasty things to the developers. And so what they would do is they would ignore, like, all the good comments saying, you know, please make a good DLC for Red Dead Online. We really want content. The Rockstar fanboys would ignore comments like that, and instead what they would do is they would pick the one comment where somebody would say, like, oh, you better make content, Rockstar, or blah 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 this, and, like, say something nasty, you know, something like that. And so what they would do is they would try to discredit the entire Save Red Dead Online thing, and they would say, oh, you're being toxic towards Rockstar developers. No, I wasn't being toxic. Nobody was. But, like, the point of this that I'm making is that whenever there's any kind of protest, whenever there's any kind of movement, even if the vast majority of people are good, even if the movement itself has a legitimate purpose, you're always going to have, like, one or two idiots, like, you know, a few bad people that are going to be, you know, try to spoil everything. And that is, and what happens is the opposition, the people that are opposed to that protest, what they're going to do is they're going to specifically pick and choose those really bad people, and they're gonna try to paint the entire protest as being like that. That happens a lot of times. The media will like find like, you know, one or two bad people in like a group, and they'll say like, oh, this represents everyone in that group, and that's not the case. But that's it. So what I was saying about the whole Canada thing is that while I don't approve of blocking roads and bridges or anything like that, you know, the people were just pissed off about mandates. That's pretty much what it was. And I think the Canadian government, they could have handled it much better. They could have handled it much better. Just the way they went about it, they should have just sat. What the Canadian government should have done is they should have just sat down at the table with the leaders of the trucker protest. They should have just sat down with them, and they should have just said, okay, guys, you know, what's the problem? What's going on here? How can we resolve this? You know, how can you get this to stop and stuff? That's all. But instead of doing that, they demonized them. They made them all look like they were really evil, bad people. And what they did was they froze people's bank accounts. No, that's not the way you go about it. So you could argue that what the protesters were doing was wrong. You know, you can't really block roads. I'm not saying that's okay. But how the government responded, I personally think was really stupid and bad. And like I said, I tend to stay away from the political drama. I hate politics. I'm a gaming channel. But every single time that Prime Minister of Canada, every single time I see his face, every single time I hear his name, I just basically think, that's the guy who froze people's bank accounts. That's what I will always think of that guy whenever I see him. So no, I'm not a fan of him, and no, I don't like him. So that's that was just, you know, my whole view on that. But I hope I explained, you know, my position on that clearly, and that let me see here. Let me go here.
That's what they're saying.
Have you heard about the Halifax explosion of 1917? The Halifax explosion, I actually know what that was. That was an explosion that happened in Canada during World War I, and it actually had nothing to do with the war itself. It was something unsafe. It was like a ship. It was a ship, and something blew up on the ship. But when that ship exploded, the explosion was massive. It was massive. It was huge. It was ginormous. I would have to look up exactly how many people died in the Halifax explosion, but the Halifax explosion, I think, is one of the largest explosions in history that was actually not caused by a war. 1,782 people died. My God, that's horrible. 9,000 casualties, non-fatal injuries. Damn, that's horrible. Why did this ship explode again? It caught fire. It had high explosives. It collided with another ship. It damaged barrels stored in the deck, leaking vapors, which ignited sparks, setting off on board a fire that grew out of control, and 20 minutes later it exploded. Man, I see a picture of the mushroom cloud, too, from it. That's huge. Every single building within 800 meters was obliterated. Man, that ship must have been carrying a lot of explosives and ammunition for it to have that big of an explosion. That's horrible. Yeah, it was an explosion that happened during World War I. It was actually it had nothing to do with the war itself. I mean, the ship was carrying explosives that were meant for the war, but the ship wasn't blown up because of an attack. It was blown up just because it was just an accident. And see here. Well, look, not telling, I get that, but I'm telling you that the way the Canadian government responded to that, I don't think was right. That's just my view on it. The Australian state of Victoria was even worse when it came to lockdowns and mandates. And the guy who runs the state got reelected again last year. Oh, man. Well, thank you for the super chat, Mario. I'll watch Oppenheimer probably when I get the chance. Well, look, everyone has the right to complain, Glover, but I'm just saying is like, just what the Canadian government did, I think was illegal, personally. You know, freezing people's bank accounts, because I have never heard of a Western government doing something like that ever, freezing people's bank accounts. That's the first time I've heard something like that happen, and I was so surprised that Canada did something like that. Hey Patrick, what is your nationality? Oh, I'm a Polish Tatar American.
What's the problem here?
I think that politicians are stupid. Yep. See here. Thoughts on the Steam Deck? Oh, the Steam Deck, didn't that come out? I'll look that up in a moment here. Steam Deck. Oh, okay. This. How much does this even cost? There's one that's $500 even? Okay, well, I've never, I don't know. I would have to research this. I don't know much about the Steam Deck personally.
Making their beds in the streets at night. Unbelievable.
If that ship was flying a missions flag, the disaster probably would have never happened. Thank you, U20, for the super chat. Yeah, I didn't know that they had flags, but I know that ships are supposed to have some kind of warning that they're carrying that type of stuff on board. Oh, I joined a private session. And what is the Steam Deck, basically? You can play your computer games mobile? Is that what it is? Do you think boycotting GTA 6 would work? No. You can't boycott a game like GTA. It wouldn't work. Okay, let's see here. Go to a public poker match here. A very powerful Nintendo Switch. I haven't seen Spider-Man 2's map, so I'll have to look at it. Any plans for the weekend? Yeah, I'm gonna be making that crazy current events video tomorrow about the guy in retail, that ridiculous story I told you guys about earlier, and on Saturday we will be doing a Vice City Stories stream. So if you guys want to see my next part of Vice City Stories 100%, we'll be doing that tomorrow. I know you guys really liked the last Vice City Stories stream, so we'll do that. We will do that on Saturday. But have any of you guys here? A lot of you guys have seen my new money guide, right? The money guide that I put out yesterday. Well, technically it was today because I put it out really late at night. But the money guide I put out, like, you guys found it helpful, right? Did it helped you guys? Was I good on explaining explaining everything in the video? Did I explain it clearly? Pro, any updates on the scammer? Oh, that. For people that don't know what that's about, I've been trolling a scammer for 5 weeks. And I've been texting them back and forth, and I've just been wasting their time. And basically the other day, like 2 days ago, I actually called the scammer. I got the scammer in a phone call because the scammer was kept telling me to invest on their website, but they were just going to basically steal my cryptocurrency. I don't even use crypto, but that was basically what it was about. And so I kept telling the scammer, you know, talk to me, talk to me. And I said, my grandpa wants to talk to you about the investment because I was saying this is my grandpa's money. And the scammer kept avoiding it, kept saying, like, you know, tell your grandpa to text me. I would tell the scammer, my grandpa's not good with technology, he wants to talk to you, and I would do an old person's voice. And I trolled the scammer. I got the scammer in a phone call. I trolled the scammer for literally, for 40 minutes. So nearly 45 minutes. I wasted their time for like an hour, and I was just talking nonsense. I was just talking stupid things. And it was so obvious to me they were not from America. I heard their voice for the first time. They had a very heavy accent. It was not an American accent. But I know that it was probably a Nigerian accent. That's what it was. But the scammers was, that... Oh, do the voice? Okay. Okay, let me try to do this. So, what basically happened was, I asked the scammer, I told the scammer that my name was Mason. Because the name that I was going by was Aiden Pierce originally. That was my name. I given the scammer, my name's Aiden Pierce, and I was like, my grandpa Mason wants to talk to you. And I said to the scammer, because the scammer's name was Merrill. That's what the scammer was posing as, Merrill Whitmer. But it was a lie. That Merrill Whitmer doesn't exist. It was a lie. But what I told the scammer is, I said, where are you from, Merrill? What state are you from? And I said, are you from New Jersey? And she would say, no, I am from Los Angeles, like just a heavy accent or a really bad grammar. And I said, oh, Los Angeles. You know, I knew a kid from Los Angeles, good kid. His name was Franklin Clinton. You know, he worked at a car dealership. And I said that to her. And I said, you ever go down the freeway in Los Angeles and you see all the traffic? The traffic in Los Angeles is so annoying, and the pollution in Los Angeles and all that. And I kept going on and on, just complaining about the traffic. And the scammer kept hanging up on me. And I kept calling the scammer back, and I just kept talking nonsense over and over again. And so the scammer was getting really mad. I recorded this whole call, so I will have it up in a video, but all the dumb things that I was saying to the scammer. But I confronted the scammer basically at the end. I don't want to spoil what I said to the scammer, but I scared the crap out of the scammer at the end. Because I knew the scammer's location. I knew where the scammer was. Because what actually happened was, a few weeks earlier, I tricked the scammer into clicking on a link. And so, a buddy of mine, really good friend of mine, he told me that I should send the scammer a Grabify link. And I said, what's a Grabify link? And he told me it's this link where you basically, when you send it to a scammer, if they click on it, it'll show their IP address. It'll show where they are. And so I tricked the scammer into clicking on the Grabify link, and I grabbed their IP, and I knew where they were. It didn't give me their exact location, but I knew they were in Lagos, Nigeria. That's where the scammers were. So they weren't in Los Angeles, they were in Nigeria. And I actually told the scammers that I knew where they were, and I told them I know that you're in a call center. I know you just passed the phone back and forth, because I figured I was talking to two people, because the way when one of the scammers was texting me, their grammar was bad, but it wasn't like really horrible. It was still somewhat readable. But then when the scammer started texting me like an hour later, the grammar was even worse. It was much, much worse. And at that point, I think there was a second scammer that I was talking to, because the grammar was just not the same as the first set of messages. And so I told the scammer, I know that you're passing the phone to people. I know that your different people are texting me on this number. And I said, I know that you're in Lagos, Nigeria. And I just basically scared the crap out of them, and they kept hanging up on me. And I told them that they can do the right thing, and they can stop this scam. And they didn't listen. And so what ended up happening is the scammer then texted me a few hours later and told me, why did your grandpa embarrass me like this? And he's like, I'm not a scammer, like, please invest with my company. And so then they texted me this morning they texted me, and they still want me to buy Bitcoin and put it in their sketchy website. So that's it. But it's when I have this video up, you guys are gonna find this video really funny. And even though it seems like I described most of the video to you guys, no, there isn't. Because I talked to this scammer for 5 weeks. For 5 weeks, I talked to this scammer. I recorded everything. And it's gonna be a very long video when I put it out, but it's gonna be just me trolling the living hell of this scammer. I'm just trolling them so badly. And I was so good at trolling them that they weren't even able to tell that I was trolling them. Because I really pissed them off. I really made them mad. I saw your comment on Hell Let Loose. Oh yeah, that trailer sucked. It was horrible. I know what you're talking about, the Hell Let Loose trailer. In the Chinatown Wars mission, Pursuit Farce, there's a funeral escort of a hearse, a limo, and 2 mafia cars. My guess is that's John Ravelli's funeral escort. Oh. Oh, I didn't know about that. DL Gaming. That's interesting. But you know what's disappointing? That no GTA 4 characters made an appearance in Chinatown Wars. I thought that was really disappointing. Oh, these are really good cards. Thank you, Mario. I just don't want to get into the Australian politics because I just don't know much about that. But a lot of these politicians are very ignorant. But was my old person's voice good? Do you guys think I did a good old person's voice? And I wasn't trying to make fun of old people, but I was just I was basically just trying to do like a typical, like, you know, old person American voice that you would think of. And grandma voice for the rest of the stream. Well, thank you, Lucius, for the super chat. Pro, your voice acting is amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Tasmanian, for the super chat. But do you know what the stupidest thing that I said to the scammer was? The dumbest thing I said to them? And the scammer was such an idiot that they weren't even able to tell what I just said to them. But basically, the scammer, wait, what? Thank you, Tasmanian, for that super chat. The scammer, I was calling her Merle Winters several times. Merle Winters. And her name, according to the scammer, her name was Meryl Whitmer, but I kept calling her Meryl Winters, and I said, is this Meryl Winters, the famous investor? And you would think they would have corrected me, but they never corrected me, so that means they didn't even memorize the name that they had for their scam. So what I did was, when the scammer hung up on me, and I called back, I said to the scammer, I was just my regular voice, and I was saying, my grandpa is really mad at you right now that you keep hanging up on him. He has to go to sleep soon, and, you know, this isn't okay. And what I did was, when I did the old person's voice, I said to her, I was like, listen here, you whippersnapper. It's like, this is not okay. I gotta go to sleep soon, and you just hang up on me like this, Meryl. This is not okay. I want to talk to your manager right now. It's like, you know, I did a lot for this country. I fought for this country during the Cuban Missile Crisis. You know, I protected Florida from communism, and I don't want to be disrespected like this. This is just not okay. And she was just so stupid. She didn't even realize that the Cuban Missile Crisis is not a war where we fought in. It was just a crisis that happened. Right? I said I fought in the Cuban Missile Crisis, and she's so stupid that she didn't even catch on that. That's what it was. So stupid. The video is gonna be really funny when I put it up. You'll see. Look at that pair. Yeah, look at that. Win it all. Right there. I won everything. When's this video gonna drop? It's gonna probably drop in a week because it's a lot of editing. It's like 5 weeks of me texting this scammer, texting them, and then finally getting into a call with them. But also, guys, here's the thing about this. Not only did I troll the scammer, what I did was I also filled out a police report. So what I did was I looked up the Nigerian police, like cyber crimes, like cyber fraud, you know, division, and I filled out a police report. I filled out one. I gave them all the information. I gave them my phone number and my email, and I didn't use my real, you know, my real phone number, my real email, but it was still an email they could contact me, and it was still a phone number that they could contact me on. But I basically gave them all the information that they needed. I gave them the scammer's IP address. I gave them the scammer's website. I showed pictures of the scammer using bot accounts to try to trick people. I gave them all the information, a bunch of screenshots, everything that they needed, and I filled out that police report like 2 weeks ago, and the Nigerian police have not responded to me. They haven't done anything. Like zero, nothing. And so this is why you have scams that come out of countries like Nigeria. The reason that there's so many scams from a country like Nigeria is because of one simple thing. The police don't do anything. That's really it. Because, for example, if I as an American, right, if I start calling like France, let's just say I start making phone calls into France and I start scamming French people out of their money and I just start stealing from it. Do you know what the French are going to do? The French police is going to go to the American government and is going to complain to them, and then the American government is going to come and arrest me. So that's the difference. In a country like Nigeria, though, the police don't really do anything. The scammers never target people inside their country itself. They only target people outside of the country. If the scammers started scamming Nigerians, the Nigerian police then would do something about that, and they would arrest them. But because they're scamming people outside of Nigeria, the police don't really care much about that. And that's the unfortunate thing. And I'm not trying to, you know, insult the entire Nigerian police force. I know there's probably decent, good people, honest people in the Nigerian police force, but it's the fact that they just don't, a lot of them don't do anything, which is why the scams are just so out of control in countries like Nigeria. And the thing about this is, the reason the police don't take action against scammers, it's not just corruption. I mean, corruption could be part of it, but it's more of laziness. It's more of that, you know, they aren't really causing a problem in our country, and so we really have no obligation to deal with it. That's pretty much what it is. But, you know, this happens in, like, you know, another country is, you know, India. The police also, it's the same thing. The police don't do anything really even if you show the police where the scam's call center is, you tell them this is where the scam call center is, and you show them proof. This is these people. You show them pictures of this. The police in India oftentimes don't do anything about that, and that's why scams are really high from there too. But there's another country, the country that has the most amount of hackers in the world. You know what country that is? It's Russia. The reason that Russia has so many hackers is because the Russian hackers never hack in Russia. If they did, the Russian police would go after them. But when these hackers, they hack into other countries, especially Western countries, the Russian police don't care about it. In fact, the Russian government actually encourages it. So that's why there's certain crimes coming from a lot of countries. It's because the police in those countries don't enforce the law. When you don't enforce the law, criminals notice that. They see that. So if a criminal in Nigeria, if like scammers in Nigeria see that the police are not going to arrest them, they're not going to stop them, they're going to keep doing it, and they're going to keep increasing their scams. And so that's it. Maybe write to your congressman. My congressman isn't going to do anything about that. It's like what am I going to do? Am I going to write a letter to my congressman? It's like, yeah, I found this Bitcoin scammer in Nigeria, like do something about it. It's like they're not going to do anything about that too. It's you need the police in Nigeria to actually do something. You know, I gave the police in Nigeria, when I filled out that police report, I gave them all the evidence they needed, everything. The only thing I didn't give them is I didn't give them an exact address on the scammer, because I don't know. I just had their IP address, but I showed their IP address and I put in their phone number. I showed their website too. I linked their website, the scammer's website, and everything. And, you know, with that, I think they would have at least enough evidence to begin an investigation, something. They could at least email me back saying, you know, we've begun an investigation, but nothing. 2 weeks later has passed, and nothing has happened. So that's it. It's just unfortunate. But you guys will see this. I'll put out this video about me pissing off this scammer. This video is probably be out in like a week, because it's a lot of editing in it. Because I literally just recorded like 5 weeks of just me messing with this scammer. But the scammer was so desperate to get my money, and after 5 weeks they get absolutely nothing. So imagine that. I wasted their time for 5 weeks and they get nothing. They're pissed. I don't think Anonymous tolerate Russian hackers. Well, the difference is Anonymous are another group of hackers that will go after the Russian hackers, but they're not a police agency. So, if anything, they're more like vigilantes, pretty much. Yeah, the Hail, I'm not sure if it was bigger than the Beirut one, but Halifax was a very large explosion. You're right, Bunny. Hope you have a good night. Next Patreon stream, I will announce it. Usually it's like the third week of the month when I do that. Usually on the third week of the month, but I'll announce it. Why do you think the new Hell Let Loose trailer is bad? The new Hell Let Loose trailer, because the guy's arms was glitching out. It just didn't. The M1 Garant clip was wrong. The way he loaded it was wrong in the trailer. It's like a game that prides itself in historical accuracy. Was not good the way it presented itself. Yeah, Aiden Pierce is a vigilante. I want to win one more hand here. No, because it doesn't matter. Even if you got 30% of people to boycott GTA 6, it's never going to happen. But even if you got 30% of people to boycott GTA 6, it would still millions of copies. So it's not going to it's not going to do anything. Okay, let's see. We get some good cards here, hopefully, now. Look, when it comes to definitive edition of GTA, my position on that is I like the definitive edition of GTA 3 and Vice City. I know that might seem a bit controversial, but I know they had issues, they had glitches, but Vice City and GTA 3 weren't as bad as San Andreas. Like, for the most part, they worked. It was San Andreas that was the worst one. It was like, that one, the character models were terrible. It had so many glitches, like, they got the fog wrong, the rain was disgusting. There's a lot of stuff wrong with the San Andreas one. But look, here's what I'll tell you. Do you know what Rockstar should have done about the definitive edition? What they should have done? They should have released what kind of cards? 8 and 5. What they should have done is Rockstar should have done a definitive edition game every year. So one definitive edition game every year. That's what they should have done. They should have never done 3 games and given it to, like a team of 20 people. It was a disaster to do that. They should not have done that. That was really, really bad. Here's what they should have done. The first game they should have released was GTA 3. They should have released GTA 3 Definitive Edition in 2021. They should have done that. And they should have focused all their resources on just GTA 3. Just make GTA 3 the most perfect, best Definitive Edition game that you can have and release it in Christmas of 2021. That would have been perfect, like the holidays of 2021. And then next year, release Vice City Definitive Edition during the holidays, 1 year later, and make sure Vice City is the best game ever, Definitive Edition. And then this year, they should have just released San Andreas, Definitive Edition this holiday season, and just worked on it and made sure that it was the best game possible. That's what they should have done. If they did one game every year, the games wouldn't have been as buggy mess as they were if they just focused on one game at a time. But it was literally trying to do 3 games in 1 year. It was a disaster. Well, it's not just Grove Street Games' fault, because I'm not defending Grove Street Games. Look. Oh, wait, I have, you know what I'm gonna do here? Let's do this here. He's gonna fold. Anonymous got mistaken for hacking, for another hacking group, Russian group, hacking into EU European banks by Moist Critical. He's a YouTube critic, mainly. Yeah, I've seen, we both had it. But he had a little better cards than me there. Yeah, I'm familiar with some of Moist's videos. Yeah, and look, I personally, look, what I say right now might seem controversial, but I think that Grove Street Games also gets a lot of unnecessary hate, because, think about it, it's like a team of like 20-something people, and they had only a year to literally remaster 3 games, and San Andreas is a massive game. Even for today's standards, even comparing San Andreas to today, San Andreas is still longer than most games. The only game that I can think of that's longer than San Andreas is Red Dead Redemption 2. That's literally the only game I can think of that's longer than San Andreas. San Andreas is like the second longest game I've ever played. Number 1 is Red Dead Redemption 2. San Andreas, it has 100 missions in it. So like trying to remaster something like that with 2 other games in like less than a year, you can't. It's so hard to do something like a team of like 20 people. So while Grove Street Games definitely has some fault, Rockstar also has blame in this, because they didn't give the proper resources to it, and GTA is their bread and butter when you think about it. Grand Theft Auto is where Rockstar makes most of their money from. That's what Rockstar makes their money from, is the Grand Theft Auto. That's where vast majority of their money comes from. And Rockstar cannot afford to mess something like that up. And so you can't tell me that Rockstar didn't know. There was definitely somebody from Rockstar who definitely knew that there was something wrong with the Definitive Edition. They definitely had somebody checking the game out, making sure that checking if the game was working, and there was probably somebody that knew that there was something wrong. What I think happened is I think Take-Two Interactive probably showed up. So there was probably some corporate big shots from Take-Two Interactive that probably came in and they said, no, we want you to release this game by Christmas time, and then we can patch it and fix it later. That's what probably happened. They wanted a holiday release, they rushed it out, and that's probably what ended up happening with it. Now look, there's a game that I'm really looking forward to, right? It's a remaster. And the remaster that I'm really looking forward to is the Ace Attorney Apollo Trilogy. It's made by Capcom. It's 3 games that they're remastering in one game together. So one game is gonna have 3 games, and that is that remaster is coming out early 2024, and I'm 99% certain that when that game comes out, it's gonna be perfect. It's not gonna have any glitches. It's gonna work flawlessly. Do you know why I think that? The reason is because the other 2 games they remastered, the original Ace Attorney Trilogy games, that was perfect. There was no glitches. And also when they did the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, that also worked out really well. And also it's the fact that it's not a Christmas release. If it was a Christmas release, like holiday time, it would make me much more nervous because the developers are rushing it out. But because the game is coming out literally early in 2024, when games actually don't sell that well, I know they're delaying the game to make sure that the game works. So that's what I'll say about that. I have to go to sleep, Pro, since I got work tomorrow, but thanks for the stream. I'm really sorry I also haven't been able to join lately. It isn't easy for me. It's okay, Blinded Eagle. Thank you for the super chat. Blinded Eagle, come to the streams whenever you want, man. Don't feel obligated that you have to come to the streams. Just come to the streams whenever you want on your own time, man. But I do appreciate the support. Thank you, man. And thank you, Lucius. I remember you mentioned that you would like to see GTA 4 remastered, but after what happened in the trilogy, they'll ruin it. Yeah, hopefully they don't. What? Lake Isabella, what? Okay, I got an ace here. I did lose most of my money here. I'm still up $1, but, oh, I'm really sorry I can't join you for Reddit Online. Oh, it's okay, Blinded Eagle. Remember when CJ went flying to that island? Yeah. And do you know what I'm thinking about doing? I'm thinking about doing a video, Mario, top 10 GTA playthrough fails, where I go through all my GTA playthroughs and I just list off my top 10 fails. And that would be number 1. That one was CJ flying. That would be number 1. That was the most ridiculous glitch I've ever seen. That was just that. I literally went flying into an island. It was stupid. Okay, I'm gonna win this hand. This hand I'm gonna win. What I tend to do, when I'm really confident in my hand, what I tend to do is I tend to start out small bets, like $1. He's folding on that. But if I bet like $5 now, everyone will fold. A lot of people are actually folding right now. But hopefully this guy keeps going. Okay, yeah. So he's already put in some money. So regardless of the money that they put in, some money will still be there even if they fold at this point. Okay. This guy took my money earlier. I'm gonna take his money now. Unless this guy has some really crazy hand, he's not gonna beat me. I got an ace pair. 2 pair of 7s and 2s. He has just... Okay, yeah. Yup, there we go. Got you. Said I'd win that hand, and I did. There we go. Okay, good. I'm gonna leave here now before we lose more. Yeah, that'll be fine, JD. Some of the character models I think are better. Like I think that Woozy, for example, looks better in the definitive edition than he does in the original. I think he actually does. But then some of the other character models like Denise looks the worst. Like she looks horrible in the definitive edition. Like her appearance in San Andreas with the original one was much better. Can you say happy birthday, Gio? Well, happy birthday, Gio. Thank you for the super chat. Top 10 GTA missions of all time? I could definitely do that, Blinded Eagle. But yeah, I guess I'll probably be wrapping up the stream here. I'll still stick around for a few minutes and answer any questions before I go here. Happy birthday, Gio. Ryder, I'm a genius while flipping his boat over and killing him. Huh. That I remember. Ryder actually, the San Andreas Definitive Edition was so glitched that Ryder actually died on his own. I didn't even have to kill him and it passed the mission. Hey Vinny, how are you, man? I got fired. I'm going into commercial pilot training. Well, I hope it goes good for you, Suspect. I'm sorry that happened to you. First time watching you. How's it going? It's going good, Stormy. On my channel, I do a lot of different games, playthroughs, lore videos. Check it out. I think you might like my channel. Wait, Pro, you really have 49 platinums. The jumping noodles and stroke the rabbit don't count. I agree with you. I don't count them either. Yeah. Those platinums were just platinums I got just to show how ridiculous the whole thing was. Yes, he is, Steve. Yes, that was ridiculous, Mont. I remember it too. You do know you can hide those games, right? Yeah, I guess. But I wouldn't want to hide my platinums, though. But that was, yeah. But if somebody makes fun of me for having, like, Stroke the Rabbit or, like, the Jumping Noodles as, like, a platinum, I'll just basically link them my video and be like, look, I did this just for a video, just to show how ridiculous these were. The most ridiculous fail you ever had in a game? When I was playing San Andreas Definitive Edition and CJ flew into an island. Well, I guess I'll be going here, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the stream, do drop a like. If you guys enjoyed the stream, it does help me out a lot. And tomorrow we'll have that crazy current events video up, and probably have the new Sniper Elite mission. We'll probably have that up. Or yeah, and there's also Saints Row, I think, right? Saints Row is the new mission, the new Saints Row reboot mission. It's probably gonna cringe, but I'm gonna be doing it this weekend. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.